get you.
Does she need 4?
Yes, we're on. All right, we will go ahead and call this meeting to order. Welcome everybody tonight. A little bit of a full house, but I've asked Councilman Gonthier to lead us in prayer and pledge. Please stand.
Heavenly Father, Lord, we just pray that you'd help us as we try and take care of your business. Help us to do so without wasting time on an evening like tonight. Lord, I just ask that you just give us guidance. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Attention, salute. Oh, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You can have roll call, please.
Lamar,
Here.
Shropshire,
Here.
Bradshaw, here. Brashears,
Here.
Brown,
Here.
Trammell,
Here.
Gonthier,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Okay, thank you. We have no petitions from the audience that I'm aware of. Department head reports. I've got a brief report from our building inspector. Craig and I did 62 paid inspections for March, another 18 inspections with contractors, James and Cody from MUB, about addressing issues that came up in the community. Worked with Officer Humphreys on issues that he had for houses with abatement and attended abatement hearing on the 20th. Placed signs for the April planning and zoning meeting, reviewed several plans for remodels and new homes. Several homeowners and contractors come in to the office looking for information on codes, additions, and zoning services. Emergency management, Mr. Jensen.
Well, everybody knows we're going to get some storms later tonight, I'm sure. Between now and midnight, we've got a couple of chances. The one this evening will be the stronger of the two if we do wind up getting one. There'll only be a couple of storms, but if they come through Mays County, they'll be strong ones. And then we'll get a line of storms probably around 4 o'clock in the morning that'll work this way. Tornado threat will be high if the ones happen here through midnight. It'll be a little bit lower if they get the overnight ones. Everything's working good on all the warning devices except for the one at Walmart. It is still giving us trouble. We had it fixed. It would work for a couple weeks. It's back out again. We've contacted the repair people about 10 days ago, and they're on the list, but just haven't made it here yet. Once them sirens get very old, they start becoming problematic because, number one, they're on a pole, a metal piece on a pole way up out in the big middle of nowhere, so they're susceptible to lightning strikes and power fluctuations and things of that nature. And then the control boxes that control them in the summertime get about 130 degrees on the inside of there where all the electronic components are. So it's just, they get very old, they get difficult to keep going. I've talked to Cherokee Nation. They are considering putting together a grant for some storm sirens for some of the communities. I seen in the paperwork said that Pryor could use 2 of them if we wind up being picked for some of that. So hopefully that will work out, and if so, then maybe we can get us a couple of new ones replacing the ones that are giving us so much trouble. So other than that, that's all I got.
All right, thank you. Fire, Chief Young.
Yeah, we're just
They're at the fire station. Guys are starting to do some spring, kind of small engines, repairs and stuff like that, changing oils, you know, going over the smaller engines and stuff like that they can. So they're doing that. We're looking over the hydrant maps. We're probably gonna pick a couple districts, just looking back to see which ones need maintenance, then which ones need to be flow tested so we can make sure our water's doing what it's supposed to do at a hydrant, and we can actually get the caps off them and open them up. So that's what we're doing. Y'all have anything for me?
Did we help assist on any of the wildfire stuff that was, when all that went on last month?
We stayed in our county
Okay,
the whole time. We didn't go out of our county
okay,
for any of those other big ones like at Manford and all that. Our task force stayed here. We were kind of short on numbers anyway. We had spring break playing against us, so that really kind of hurt us on manpower and stuff like that. And then all the other departments around, people traveling and stuff like that, we were a little short in county, and we never could muster an actual team to send for the task force.
okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Golf?
Good evening, everyone. Just enjoyed a nice little vacation a couple weeks ago, so it's sure good to get away and get clear thoughts and get back after it, because we're going to be busy now. So we had a pretty decent March. Weather was not as good as it was last year, but still our numbers were up there pretty good. We hosted the U.S. Kids, had 123 kids come in from, I don't know, about 4, 5, 6 different states, I think I counted. So they come in from quite a few different places, and just a good bunch. Good to see all them young ones out there. We also hosted Hilldale from Muskogee, a benefit golf tournament last Saturday for their golf team. So they don't have too many places to play around, so it's good to have all them folks come up. I did pass out a April and May flyer. I think, did everybody get one? You get one?
I probably said 100 times in my out there.
But anyway, just to try to keep everybody updated on what's going on. See, we have a lot of the high school tournaments coming up in April, so we just need the weather to cooperate with us for them when we have all those kids out there. But got all of our equipment in good shape. We're ready to roll. The grass has already started growing. The contractor's done really good on the cart pass parking lot. All that's looking real good. They're putting some finishing touches on it. So adding dirt around the edges where, you know, it sticks up a little high, and so they're fixing all that up. All the bridges are done, I think, and so he's just waiting on some good weather. We'll have to, it's going to have to get really dry because we have to get a big crane out there. So hopefully June, July, we can have a couple of them installed, and it won't be long to get all 5 of them done. Other than that, that's what I have. Anybody have any questions? Any chance, please come out and see us. Like us on Facebook, share. We'll be posting a lot of stuff. Thanks.
Excuse me, real quick.
Anna?
Just a brief question. If somebody wants to learn about getting into golfing, who's never done it before, where would they go?
Just give me a call. We'd love to help them. Yep, might just you can call the pro shop. Be fine to share my cell phone number. I'd love to help them. I will be doing a beginner golf clinic also, but I just haven't got posted because I'm trying to work it in the schedule. So we're going to be doing that also out there. But yeah, just have them give me a call, and we can love to get them going.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Carrie, library?
We don't have all of our normal statistics for today because it's the first and not all of them have come in. So a little bit different report. I sent you guys a copy of the front page of our budget spreadsheet. It is more current than Cassell just because of how financial statements and all that stuff works. So we are at this point 75% of the way through the year. The library has only spent about 63% of our budget. Some of the line items that are smaller, in particular programming and library marketing, we'll start seeing a lot more use in the coming weeks because we're getting ready for our summer reading program. Everything else is pretty much, this is what we're doing. I have challenged my staff, we will spend all of our book budget this year. We are not saving money on that because it was cut 25% in this fiscal year. So we're spending every penny that we have in our books. In other news, our checkouts are good. We had 2,600 physical checkouts at the library, which is more than we did last month and more than we did the year before. And then digital checkouts, I put it in the email, but I didn't write it down on my spreadsheet. I think it was like 2,700, so those are pretty good as well. Everything's getting busier. Our door count is not complete on my spreadsheet, but with the 18 days that we've recorded, we've averaged 117 people a day. It may change because we're open more than 18 days in March, but anyway, you guys have questions for me?
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Parks and Cemetery, Frank.
I guess March, it's been a actually pretty busy month for us, for my guys. I had surgery right after the last council, so once again, I was gone most of the month, but between the winds and some of the older trees we have kept on busy, limbs and picking up, and we managed to get one tree down, the big double tree between the skate park and the pond. We got it out. They've been doing some painting. We had to yank up a couple of water fountains. Some of the plumbing on it's getting old. Had to redo some plumbing on some of those. Had to declare the old jungle gym in the corner unsafe and take it out. We even had some complaints, people calling in, and you could go up to it and it just, so we took it out. So we got plans this next year's budget for that corner there. Had to do some work at the bridge at Centennial. I get some complaints on it sometimes about being wobbly. It does, years ago, the water caused it spun out a couple of the legs. We took 2 legs out, but we installed like 22-foot 4x4 steel runners underneath. So because them legs are missing, but it's not going to go anywhere, it's solid. But so we're starting to have to repair a couple of other places. It's solid for now, but I'm going to say a couple of years that bridge might need overhaul. But other than that, like I said, the guy just this week, because they've been busy, just started mowing just yesterday. So it's like it's going to be a good spring so far.
All right, thank you. Chief Cantrell, Police and Animal Shelter.
So this month, the big thing was the fog day that we had in mid-March. There's a lot of fog that rolled in that morning, and traffic was running into each other. Walmart, 20, there was a tire came off over here on Main Street and hit the side of a truck, off a semi. So that was kind of the big thing for the month. The winds also, we had the winds, which caused a little bit of damage in town, but nothing terrible as far as the trees down and things like that. The more people are out and about. The mayor saw one yesterday, so we're dealing with calls of people out and about, and it warms up. I mean, those calls will continue to grow. Domestics are on the uptake. Accidents, I think we had 3 accidents today, so just calls for service are going up. The range is starting to move. I know the mayor posted something, so thank you guys. I know GRDA's helping, Bruce helped get that rolling, so that's moving. We appreciate that. That's pretty all I got, unless I got something for me.
Can I take that M1 out there you have in your office when it's done?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Let's have our numbers if you
Yeah, what do you got?
Well, she's passing that out. I noticed those drones, did we get a discount on those?
Yeah. I thought y'all liked that. I thought
We cleared the shelf. No.
Thank you, Becky.
Ma'am?
I'd like to thank Buddy real quick, please, because he got us out of the mud this month, brought us some gravel out, so that's amazing.
that shelter where they washed the pins was just a muddy mess, and Buddy and
Yeah.
them worked together and they got it taken care of.
Yep.
Great.
Thank you, buddy.
Yes.
We rolling shot.
All right, thank you, guys. Mike, Rec Center?
Good evening. We're just kind of cruising along. I guess the big thing, kind of some quick turnaround from end of the month to today for us, but we did get some numbers in. Back in back at the beginning of the fiscal year, we sat down as a staff and came up with some goals that we wanted to do some things individually and as a rec center as a whole. And, you know, we had meetings and laid some things out. But our overall goal was to hit a 2,000 membership mark. And so through the month of February, we did that and got to 2,132 members. And I think that's a real number. You know, we changed software packages last year in February, and so now we've kind of filtered everything through. So I feel relatively confident that that's a good number. And you know, you know, the credit for all that really needs to go to the staff. They've done an outstanding job. I had a gentleman came in my office yesterday and was very complimentary. Said, you know, you have a great staff. And I said, yes, I know, and I'm very appreciative of that. So they do make things go, and I genuinely mean that. So we're very happy that that's that. So, but now it'll be, you know, can we maintain that, right? So that's the goal. So if we just keep doing what we're doing, hopefully we'll do that. On the maintenance side of things, you know, we're just doing some general things, getting ready to strip and wax our floors. That hadn't been done at least a couple of years. We got to do some plumbing on the pool heater. We got a leak there. Quarterly HVAC. That's time for that. So we'll see that through as well. And then we're getting organized to do that bidding on the next HVAC system. Mentioned the membership. We're up to 685 on the Cherokee Nation, which is a pretty good jump from last month. We had 793 walkers and 1,518 day passes sold. So happy about that. We had 14 public pool parties and 6 private last month. So we're doing okay there. We're up just a little bit in that regard. I think we mentioned we added a senior insurance membership program called Silver and Fit. So a lot of them that have Medicare supplements, they get that paid for. And then we get reimbursed on that. And then we've got a couple of things coming up. We've gotten organized in conjunction with GRDA, Jackie, our aquatics coordinator, and Eddie Bob Matthews. We've met, and Jackie and Eddie are putting a program together. So May 1st and June 5th, we'll be doing a couple of youth programs for that. And then we've started a volleyball skills camp, something we've been trying to get going for a while. They actually start tonight. So, so anyway, we've got lots of stuff going on. I had to go in and referee some basketball before I came to calm things down a little bit. But just because we're all, you know, packed in, we got dance on one side and all kinds of basketball on the other in the gym. But it's all good. So, any questions?
All right, thank you. Buddy Glenn, street.
Bodies that come up and sound so exciting. So, hate to bring y'all down on this one, but we have dipped several ditches about 200 feet. We've gone over on the report there at the street committee. We've been over on Southeast 2nd, over on Edith Street and Clayton Road. We've done some ditches out there. We've taken that pipe hunter that we bought, that we went out and opened. I think it was 2 or 3 pipes out there on Clayton that was filled full of debris. We got them opened up. That thing's a blessing. We've also put in some pipes, some driveway pipes that we had. Was on Southeast 2nd in Clayton. There was built a new house out there. The owners bought the pipe, so they went at a different driveway, so they bought it. But we dipped the ditch and installed it for them. We finally finished a little project over on Whitaker. We opened it up today, so it's opened up, and so you can walk through there now. We cleaned drainage out there at Park and Aid area. We had some silt and some limbs and stuff that was built up, so we went down and opened that up, got down there and cleaned that, so that's ought to be flowing good for tonight if we get anything. We went and had got our couple containers of oil. We've been running our oil and chip machine, doing some of our patching and stuff like that. Especially out there in Clayton Road, we've had so many holes out through there, so we've been working on that. Then we had some residential places that we went to. Besides our regular patching, we got a hole in our roof over there we're going to try to get it patched somehow. Water's dripping down on top of our, not dripping, it's pouring down on top of our patch, and it's our patch is not going to be any good, is what is happening. So we may end up, if we can't get that fixed, we may have to try to find another place to put it at. The last storm, we had some trees down over on East Graham Avenue on Mays and Whitaker Street. Trees and limbs, we went and helped citizens with them, get them cut up, get them hauled off. Got a couple of extra signs that we're putting over on Southwest 9th Street. I got with Johnny, he asked, talked to me about it. One of them over on our gate, if you go out, we have one now that says gate closed on the other end. So, we've got one that we're gonna put over on the county end. We got a little work to do out through there to get that up, but the main one we got up was over on our side, so, it lets people know when they come in, if they drive around it, that they're not gonna get through on the other end. So, that or drive off in a ditch. We finished up all the mud repairs that we have for right now. They said they've got a few more coming in, but just not right at the moment. And the contractor, I guess talked to him, they won't be in, they're supposed to be in this week. They said they won't be in this week because of the weather coming in. So, that's about, besides some miscellaneous things that we've had, so.
I do have one thing I want to bring to your attention, that little path between Irving and South Kauai, you know what I'm talking about? It's getting pretty rough. It could be a trip hazard. You might want to just take a listen.
Okay, yeah, I don't know how that come about wind up being the city's responsibility. I don't know. We've always done stuff with it, but like with the trimming on fences and stuff like that, you know, you got two people lives on each side and that stuff overgrows in through there. But I don't know, again, I've never really took the time to look it up to find out if that's actually a city easement, if that's just something that the back in the day that, it was just the space between the fences and they used it as a go through, but yeah, that's something we just need to check out and see. It's not that we don't mind doing it, but I'll write that down and we'll go by and look at it, so.
Thank you.
Did we move the stop sign on North Elliott?
Well, it will be, got a locate called in on that. They missed it the first time because it wasn't really an address, it was in between houses.
Okay.
So they was driving through looking for that, even though they missed the pink stake and a big white circle on there, they didn't.
Okay.
But no, it's locate on it, and hopefully the locate will be good by tomorrow. I mean, it should have been good as of today, but they drove out there and they called and said that they couldn't find it.
Okay.
So we went out there and showed them.
So in progress.
Yeah.
And then our two projects that we've got going on, Old 20 Northeast First and South Elliott Drainage.
South Elliott, I'm not sure. I haven't talked to Dale on that.
So when I talked to Dale, that was, they had a parallel water line that was running pretty close to that. So Dale's working on the surveying side of that to try to figure out what size we need and the pitch and there. 20, that's where he's saying that we've been on the contractor pretty solid every day, asking for, I'd call them updates, status updates. You'll notice that the signs are out there from about where Lou's Cafe is at, all the way out to True Road. They originally were only going to put a couple of signs. I think 2 is what they brought out. And we required them to stick to it's called the TCP, the Traffic Control Plan, as it was presented in the packet. They were late mobilizing out. Then they wanted to come out and do some work the week of the Okie Homesteading Fest, that Thursday, Friday. I think we shared that last council meeting. I said, you can't do that. That's not doable. So they were supposed to start the following Monday. That Tuesday is when we got an email from them saying that they didn't have the ODOT permit to move the milling machine, which I find funny because I was already more than a month past their start date, that they didn't have the permits. So they got that moved out later that afternoon, and then they brought out the lay down machine. Yeah. And then when I was talking to Dale's contractor yesterday, they brought out a backhoe. They're doing a pretty good job of one piece of machinery a day. But they brought out the backhoe, and then were telling him that they were expecting it to start because they were going to mill the entire length of the road. And he said, no, that's not what we're doing. He goes, oh, well, that's what we thought we had to do. So, as stated, H&G, or Glover and Associates, is doing a good job of keeping their status quo. So now, as of today, the latest was, because there's rain expected, they don't want to tear the top off of that and get down and expose the base, which I respect that, but they're ready to go now. Yeah. Just waiting on weather.
Like I said, this is the contractor, like I said in the past, I know their bid was, what was it, 75,000 or something like that under. But again, you know, sometimes you get what you pay for, and we've had trouble with them in the past. And I know he's called me before and asked me, well, how do we get back in good with the city to be able to get jobs? And I said, is to do your job. When you come in, when you put a bid in, you come in and do it on time. And so it just goes to show you this time they haven't changed.
Was there
So-
must be started date?
February 16th. But they had in the agreement,
Pending weather and stuff, right?
right, they had in the agreement because we knew that there was gonna be some cold weather coming in, some inclement, the snow days were coming. So there is a buffer built into that, but we're now,
45 days?
so.
Well, at some point, I mean, if they're not started probably pretty quick, I think we should strongly consider collecting their bid bond and figuring out
So
what
we
we
have
do.
actually prepared that letter.
Okay.
Chase has approved it. Dale's got it ready to go. The idea is that even if they do start tomorrow, which clearly they're not, we're gonna go ahead and send them the letter because we want them to know that we're not an easy target of whatever it is there.
Well, plus, you know, besides the snow days or water days or rain days or whatever, then I do believe that once they go over their contract date, that be charged $500 a day until they get it done.
Okay.
So if everything does work out and this does get done, we have a 1-year warranty on the work, don't we?
Correct.
And now, if there is an issue and that issue does not get properly resolved, what is the course of action for the city to basically rectify that?
Not real sure. That'd probably be for this man over here for that, but I mean, again, we've had other contractors that's come in that tried to get them come in and do work, and they said, well, we'll try to get there as soon as possible. Well, they delayed, and a lot of times, unless it's just something major, it's hard to get them come back in and do anything. I mean, we've, you know, lawsuits before, people come in, you know, force cleanup, but most of the contractors we've had, they never give us any trouble. I mean, it's
Right.
anything that we have, they come in, this is the one it's just, I just don't think it's ever gonna change. So it's something that I believe next year, they'll be forbid to throw in a bid, so.
Whatever they decide to call themselves.
Yeah, whatever their name will be next year, so.
I mean, a couple of us live down that road, so if they get it done, if there's any issue, we'll definitely know about
Yeah.
it, so.
Well, most of the time, like with your asphalt road, it should last anywhere 7 years.
No.
I mean, at least.
Should.
But that's like with Clayton, I know, not Clayton, but, like with Gaither, see, that was one of the roads that they done out there. And after 3 years, then it started alligating and falling apart. And of course, I know we've had, you know, there's a lot of construction, heavy equipment that goes down that road with, REC, and then that, person that built the house out there with all the heavy equipment. But I know that road is not really built for that, but I mean, when we do get around and redo that road, it needs to be built for heavy equipment coming down, because we're gonna try to get with the REC and see if they'll help pitch in with that also, so.
So, well, would that be a route that we might be able to say nothing over a certain ton should be going down that road?
Well, we have to watch, because again, there's so much building going on into the city of Pryor. You can't really ban a whole lot,
Right.
of vehicles coming in for doing that, the trucks and stuff, you know, that's delivering. But if, you know, it's not a constant steady.
Well, what part of Gaither are you talking from 20 to, old 20 to 20?
Old 20 to Fifth Street.
Oh, never mind. I thought you were talking the south part of that.
No, we have signs up there on that one.
Okay.
Whether they get obeyed, I mean.
All right, well, we're gonna move on.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, city clerk? Santa?
First of all, I want to thank you guys for the beautiful flyers that you sent to my family on behalf of the council and the city offices. And I wanted to express how honored I felt that you closed City Hall for my father's celebration of life that Friday. I'm very grateful that while I was away, my team, Darla Coates, Cheryl Lau, Lisa Malone, Jay Standing Water, Ashley Bryant, along with Lori Ballou, stepped up above and beyond to ensure that everything was taken care of. I was able to be completely present with my family, and it was a big gift. payroll is 98% complete, and it's Tuesday. You guys.
That's huge. Good job.
Yeah.
We just have live checks to process and get back in contact with Cassell because there's some issues with the document management for Rever. So you'll have a regular paper stub again. I got everything fixed up with the police pension. That is a very tough reporting and payment system, and we're all in great shape. The financials, Cassell has helped with allocations and entry errors from the past 4 months, so our treasurer could provide the recent financial statements. We will continue to go department by department to get this fixed. It's just got to be fine-tuned. And that financial issue it kept coming up December 20th on everything that you guys kept saying, what is this? That's been fixed. We've got to do some vendor invoice reconciliations. That takes quite a bit of time, and that's another reason why we need more staff. The municipal payroll clerk hiring applicants have been narrowed down. So we'll start reaching out and setting up interviews and getting them on board as a priority. Next steps, we've signed documents with Paylocity. So we are going to work towards implementation and going live. We were hoping to do it the 1st of May, but I'm setting the goal for June, mid-June, just in case. I hope for May. I'm going to update the department heads on timekeeping responsibilities with regard to this payroll processing too. But otherwise, I think we're making progress. And thank you guys again.
Thank you.
I have a question.
You bet.
Have there been any tort claims filed in the past couple months?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, department heads. Consent agenda.
I have a question on the department head reports.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'm gonna put you on the spot, but you are a department head, the main department head for the city, and I would appreciate hearing from you at least once a month about things that you're involved in with the city.
Sure.
And letting us know kind of just at least some of the things like the rest of the department heads that we've got going on. I think that a lot of times what we see is only action items on the agenda, but there's lots of things that go on behind the scenes. I know you're speaking tomorrow, is it tomorrow?
Yep.
Speaking tomorrow, just, I mean, I think there's some little things that could be highlighted for the city, for the citizens to be
We can do that.
more informed.
Yeah, I know we make a note to add that
I'm doing that
at
right.
the bottom. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? Nope. Consent agenda. Any items need pulled?
F.
F. Okay. Can I have a motion for A, B, C, D, E?
Motion.
Second.
I got a motion from Bashir, second from Gantier. When you're ready, call for that vote.
Motion from here, second from over there.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Rushiers,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith.
Item F, approve an expenditure not to exceed $8,000 for 200 feet of 24-inch heavy-duty drainage pipe, 4 24-inch heavy-duty end sections, securing bands, 2,000 feet of silt fence to be paid from street drainage account 141455092. This expenditure will be reimbursed by the EDTA from the Cherokee Nation donation funds upon receipt of purchase.
Motion.
Have a motion from
Second.
Bashir, second from Gantier. So basically what this is for the range, these are items that are needed to complete step one of the, bless you, next time step up to the mic. For the range, we've got to have some drainage installed under the berms. And so these are the items that are needed. The silt fence will need to go around the property. Naturally, those things need to be done. The EDTA is holding those funds from the Cherokee Nation, $115,000. This will be paid from those upon receipt, but Buddy's got the connection to the purchasing of those, so we're going to purchase them and be reimbursed through the EDTA for those. Any questions on that?
I do.
Yep.
Since this is Up to $8,000, does this have to be bid?
Probably is gonna depend on if it's on a state contract price, and I don't know if Mr. Glenn knows that or not.
Buddy?
The bid order is state bid contract price.
Okay.
It's coming from that, I don't believe.
Okay.
And then, so my only other question was, and Councilman Smith has probably done 99% of the legwork on this to get this off the ground and secure the funding and everything for it. There's some questions come up about on the angle degree of the berm, and I think that that's been sent to the engineer. My question is, can Dale give us an answer before we order that, as if this is
I
going to
have
be
that
enough?
answer.
Awesome.
So I
Okay,
talked
thank
to
you.
Dale today, and I was actually gonna throw this in, and
Okay.
that was my hesitation. I figured somebody'd say, so, we are actually at, here's from Dale, Bruce, so, Dale told me to tell you like this. If you look at the drawings,
With my hand?
yes, with the knife hand, at a vertical angle, it'll read a 50, but you have to do a cross section on that, and that cross section there, anywhere from 23 to 30 at the angle you've pointed out. So he confirmed today that the angles are correct, they're not at 50. But depending on if you do like an aerial view, it will look at like they are 50. They're 28 to 30 given various spots, so.
Looking at it today, it looks like we're gonna have to hire a mountain climber to mow it.
Well, I don't think,
It's really steep.
well, possibly.
The guy on the dozer said it was a 50, it should be a 30, so I'll go back out tomorrow and talk to him, see if I'm wrong.
Well, okay, I'm just passing along what Dale told me about an hour ago, and he called specifically for that, so.
I just wanted to make sure that we had
No.
enough length if we were gonna have to make it a different angle.
No.
That might
we
make
should
it
be
wider
good.
at the bottom, so.
No, we're good.
Okay.
And if you want Bruce tomorrow, you can come by and we'll call Dale, and I'll let him explain that to you, how that works out, but he confirmed that we are at the right angles there. So what we're talking about is the pitch of the berm. If you go too steep, you got problems. If you go too shallow, you got problems. So, the concern was that we were a little too steep. And according to Dale, like I said hour ago, we're right on target for where we need to be. So,
Well, I've got a question on that, Mr. Mayor.
yep,
The guys that are doing the job out there goes by what the engineer has on the plan, so other than a verbal phone call to you telling you that, is that information being passed on through the plans to the guys out there doing the work though, so they're ensuring that it's done correctly?
so the guys out there have the plans, but what they've got, what are they, TopCon, which is software that loads up into their machines, and they do. When Dale was referencing this, it's the actual prints that were originally done by Mr. Crisp when he worked for DeShazo, modified again by Dale and his group. That pitch is confirmed, and no, at this point, I don't have anything in front of me to hand to you and say, Dale's just saying it, but Dale confirmed that it was, depending on which area you are, anywhere from 28 to 30 degrees. But if you look at it with a vertical view, it will appear 50. So maybe what they're looking at, I don't know. I don't know what they're looking at, but I'm telling you what Dale told me this afternoon.
I would guess this and one more would be probably one Dale's worked on. He probably might have done firing range. The man that's doing the dozer, he says it's too steep.
We'll call
He
Dale
said
tomorrow.
the engineers will try and make it steeper to save dirt.
Well, dirt
I
out there.
really don't need to call him. I need him to change it, make sure it's 30 degrees, not 50 like it looks right now.
Okay, thank you. All right. Anything else? Call for the vote?
Shropshire,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Richardson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to the addendum, item 1. Approve an expenditure in the amount of $83,919.59 to Eric and Sons Asphalt Service LLC for PRY 2406 Pryor Golf Course Path Improvements Payout Number 3, to be paid from Golf Capital Outlay Account 4155411.
Motion is stated.
A motion from Brown, second from Brashear. Call for the vote.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Rushiers,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, Mayor's report. Item A, discussion and possible action to allow the Facilities Department to hire a part-time seasonal temporary employee to assist in the mowing and upkeep of multiple city properties, including but not limited to animal shelter, police department, library, city hall, parks, and additionally assist as needed for other seasonal tasks. This position shall not exceed 30 hours a week and shall remain a seasonal temporary employment.
Motion.
Second?
I have a motion from Choya and a second from Bradshaw.
Have we checked in to see, I know the Cherokee Nation has a workforce program in the summer, to see if this would be something that would work for this? And I'm also, I have two questions, I guess.
Okay.
That is A. B is there any reason why this position can't mow the rec center?
Yes, so let's start with your first question.
Got it.
So I reached out to Danny yesterday afternoon to talk about the seasonal employment through Cherokee Workforce. He called me back this evening, and I have not had a chance to call him back, but he did mention that we need to get on the ball with that. So to get that going, keep in mind also with that Cherokee program, there are limitations to what they are allowed to do. They are not allowed to do certain things that involve like mowers or things like that.
I remember last year mowing was one of the things that we wanted to do.
So we want to definitely utilize what we can there. I think that's a good relationship to have with them. And so we're going to try to get the ball rolling on that, hopefully within the next day or so, figure out where we need to be. We'll work with them. Second, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is it an age thing, or they just can't mow, period?
No, it's a little bit of both. So the age thing is, I think they're 16 and up. We keep them 18 and older on the machinery. But with this, if we could get, I mean, even if we can get kids, that helps with, even if they are, I don't know what we want to call them, minors or whatever, we can use them for non-motorized activities, raking.
I don't remember what the details were, but I remember there was an issue with mowing. And
Yeah.
I think we may have even had them use blowers and blowers, so they could still participate in mowing, but they couldn't use a mower.
Is it something that's their rules or ours?
They're, and they also require a certain level of supervision with them, so.
It's a great program. You have to
It
use
is.
Right.
So, but I'll work all that out with Danny and figure out what he's got. I'm looking forward to that call.
Thank you.
Second question was the rec center. So the other night at the rec board meeting, Mike, you want to come up if you want to say something? We had talked about the rec center being a part of this. I think what we need to do is establish that we can get all of these other properties done in a 30-hour work week. And then I had told the rec board and Mike as well that if we get to a point where we find that we have plenty of time to take on the rec center, doing it this way is definitely a cheaper option. So that's what we'd like to do. But if any department can afford to take their mowing in the meantime, that would be the rec center. So
The rec center takes about 15 man-hours to do. I've cut it.
Okay, is that once, how, is that?
A week. It can take 15 to 18 hours depending on the weather conditions and how wet things are and how you gotta mow it. So that's about what it
So absolutely, the conversation was had, and I don't know if that really answered your question. The conversation was had that if we find that in this program we can get all of those properties done, then we will definitely utilize what we can where we can. It's by far a cheaper option to do it with the temporary help.
So I guess procedurally, we're really just approving the ability to go out and get applications, because anybody that we hire have to be hired by name, right, back in front of us. Is that fair?
Not necessarily. So when we hire the temp, we're hiring temps because it'd be like the court clerk,
I thought we were hiring a part-time.
part-time temp.
Okay, so it's through a temp service?
Yes, so we
Okay.
would go through Express for that.
Okay,
And then on the side, we would try to get what we can through the Cherokee Nation to kind of help that,
Okay.
under the direction of the facilities department, so.
There isn't a salary established.
No, I need to figure out what Express's needs are there.
So, Mayor, we got
Okay.
somebody else that will be over this.
Yes, Mr. Buffington.
Hey, what does he do? I forgot.
He is our facilities department head, if you will.
Okay.
So he's kind of our maintenance guy at this point.
Does he do any actual work, or does he supervise, or what does he do?
No, he does work. He does a lot of the middle of the night pipes burst or lights repair, ceiling tiles. He goes, runs, he's constantly running parts for various departments to repair shops. I mean, he's definitely a full-blown maintenance guy.
Would it be reasonable to assume that with this part-time man and whatever extra help we get from Cherokee Nation, it doesn't take that long to do these other things we gotta do, and they can work on the rec center 15 hours a week? Is anybody estimating what it takes to do the OPD, which is nothing? I shouldn't be 10 minutes there.
So, yeah, I mean, we've talked about this. Chief Cantrell and I've talked about it. Mike and I have talked about it. You know, the animal shelter, that's about an 5 to 8 hour job, depending on how much you're planning to mow and what needs to be mowed. You've got the idea, Bruce, I think what I had visioned and I shared with a few was we get them on a rotation where, you know, one day we're doing the old PD and the animal shelter. The next day we're doing, you know, city hall, fire, police, whatever around town. And I think we'll find that eventually, managed properly, it's very doable to do all of our properties.
So what about, I know it's on down the list on D, do we need to even discuss that on the rec center, or do you think we can make it without doing that?
I would certainly like to see that we can manage what we have and do that. I think the rec board's concern was they need to be mowed now. Mike, we'll talk about D in a minute. We'll come back to that.
So on the paying of this, there's a bunch of different departments that are in here. So are we going to bill X amount of hours to each department for what it takes to clean up? Or what is the plan on
Yes.
that?
No, that is the plan. You know, when we set up this facilities department, remember we had Maggie in there, and she left with the severance package. Her salary is still very much part of that budget, but when we established this, the idea was we knew that we were gonna have to see what the grounds would cost each department. And so I wanna get to where we figure out how much time is allocated for each project specifically, and then we would take that from those departments' budgets as part of their repair and maintenance.
Yeah, I mean, well, you just write down what time was arrived and started, and then what time was finished.
I won't write it down, but yes.
Right,
they will
that
be-
individual.
yeah.
What was done last year for maintenance, for this?
For the mowing?
Yes.
Several of those times, Captain Trammell mowed, the old animal shelter, I mowed it several times. We had citizens come and mow some of the old police station.
Yeah.
Chief Cantrell mowed it. Hit or miss on that. I think Adam Anderson rode his zero turn from his house to the old police station to mow it one time. That was the time that Nina got upset about it, and we got that done. Around town, I think Frank's guys sometimes hit up the library and City Hall. There's no real organized method
Right.
to how it's been done. The idea is if we have a facilities and grounds department, the
They should be-
responsibility
They should be tasked with it.
and the accountability falls into that.
Well, I just asked because we're heading in the right direction, it seems, with the most recent financials that came out. But at the same time, that's not a time to necessarily put your foot on the gas, because we still gotta move more in the right direction. But basically, is this, I mean, if you hire somebody out at 30 hours a week for 20 weeks, I mean, depending on what you would pay that person, or what the city would pay to hire somebody, you're looking at what, $10,000 to $15,000 over the course of a season?
Yeah, so here's the things we gotta consider. Last year, Frank also had some, I think I helped a couple times at the soccer fields and mowed, really trying to grasp what that encompassed in terms of time, and it is a huge time commitment. We have 2 guys at the cemetery, you've got you and 2 at the parks.
Ball field guys taking on the soccer field.
Jim?
At least
It's mowing those, so we've got the ball fields, the soccer fields. The idea is that when we find how much time, let me rephrase that, when we find that right pattern for mowing, absolutely, we're gonna throw in whatever it takes seasonally to get these things done.
Yeah.
So that Jim, right, isn't burning overtime to get those done, or the guys at the cemetery, if they have extra burials that they've gotta do, or maintenance, or storms come through. You know, these graves and things, wind trashes that cemetery.
Yeah.
So the idea is that under the facilities and grounds, they would be basically able to go where they needed to go to do, with the priority keeping things mowed for right now.
Okay.
So, this isn't just, we're gonna say, and that's why it says very specifically, but not limited to. There are specific buildings in town that don't have somebody mowing them right now, and they need it.
Right, but I just want to basically clarify, this should give us our bang for the buck, if you will.
I think
Like,
it
we're gonna-
will, absolutely. It'll free up Frank's guys to do what Frank's guys need to do. Jeremy's guys, Captain Trammell won't be sitting on a mower all Saturday or whatever day it is, he's Sunday, whatever day he decides to do it.
You can't have dispatch mow around the
So-
PD right there?
Anyways. All right.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yep.
Will this summertime help in Cherokee Nation also be utilized in the parks and cemeteries?
They will be utilized where they need to be, but they'll be under the direction of Gary.
Okay, well, will they be used in the parks then?
Yes, if they need to be used in the parks, and Gary's got projects in the park. Problem is the Cherokee have to be supervised
Yeah.
very closely. So, that's just, I mean, there's 100 scenarios, but if they're needed in the parks, then we'll get them to the parks. But their supervision will go through Gary Buffington.
Well, I just wondered, because Frank was resisting using Cherokee Nation people, and I just wondered if he's gonna use it or not.
Well, I think,
We used them before, it's only a few weeks too, everybody's forgetting that.
yeah, it's like 6
all
weeks.
summer. It's just, I just went off the last time I had some, they were like 14 or something, you were babysitting. I mean, you know, it took whoever to supervise the time away, and like I said, we don't weed harbors, just, I mean, I use some, I don't need 4 or 5, 2 or 3 would be all I need. If you get too many, it's hard to, you know.
Well, I'll get with Callison, Barn, see if we can get what you need in the right age and everything.
Well, Bruce, if you don't mind, that's a call I've got out to Callison to
Oh,
call him back, so.
I believe I can talk to him just like he can.
Oh, nobody's down that, Bruce, nobody's pushing you, but just be aware that that call is scheduled to take place, so.
Okay.
That's what's nice, if I get 2, I can move them usually back and forth from park to cemetery instead of
As long
getting,
as you got to help us know you're sure.
yeah, so, appreciate it.
I have one question, Mr. Mayor, and this is kind of to piggyback Councilman Smith a while ago for some clarification on the correct answer to his question. Mr. Buffington is the department head over that and the supervisor, but I think Bruce was asking if he is actually going to be mowing too, or is he just going to be supervising?
Buffington?
Yes.
Will be mowing as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely.
My last question is just, we're leaving it open-ended on salary, and I know I don't know how to address that. I know you don't have the information.
I don't.
just don't know how we should approve that.
I think you can authorize up to an amount. In your motion.
Okay.
Or we leave it open-ended, we can bring it back to you for final bill.
Does it have to be finalized before we approve it with a salary?
The role,
I mean, we're approving it to go out to temp services. If we don't approve a number, it's open-ended?
I think it is open-ended, unless you put a restraint on it for a max, I think you can do that in your motion.
Ask Dennis if he was here, what he paid.
Well, what's the average pay that we're currently paying, like, for example, the people that work through Express at the golf course who mows and/or the...
So we're saying, I think we pay Express about 18 per person, which works out to be 13, 15 for the employee. So that was kind of my direction, was to kind of be in that neighborhood.
So that would probably be the baseline then.
Yeah. So at the same rate that we pay our temps at the golf course.
I would be okay with that, yeah. I just don't wanna leave it open-ended to
mean, I don't
know
think
what
it-
we're signing up
And
for.
that's final cost of the city, not necessarily what that person's gonna get paid.
Right. Yeah, that's the tricky thing with the temps, is you're paying the temp agency more than the person makes, so. I think if we just do it at the same rate that we pay the
Okay.
temps at the thing, at the golf course, I'm okay with that. Anything else? If not, we'll call for the vote.
Boom.
What? No, we're good.
Rushiers,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Bradshaw. Yes.
All right. Item B, discussion and possible action to hire Gunnar Gibson as a police patrolman for the Pryor Creek Police Department. Range J, Step 1, at 39,357, effective April 12th, 2025.
Motion.
Motion from Bradshaw, second from Rushiers.
So this is the backfill Tyler Boardwine's position, which y'all approved earlier in the meeting. Gunner, he's a Pryor kid. He's born and raised here. After high school, he went to the Marine Corps. He served a little over 4 years in the Marines. He's back. He interviewed this when we hired Jacob Graham. He did a really good interview, real good background. The only thing against him was he didn't have cleat. But we're working out a deal. There's possibly going to be one here local, which will save a lot of money. That's getting finalized with another agency which will be here. So the cost will be extremely low to send somebody for that position. There's still a lead time as far as going through the academy, getting through the FTO process. I mean, it's going to be a while before he's out on his own.
What was Officer Boardwine's step? Like, what was his?
He was step 4, maybe through 2,
And he was patrolman? I don't think he's 4. I think he's a 3.
3 maybe he's a 3.
Was he a patrolman?
Yeah, patrolman.
So just for clarification, from step 4 and step 1 on patrolman, there's a $14,000 difference. So basically, we're bringing him in at no extra cost to backfill that position.
And Gunner's here tonight. You can come up here. There he is. I think you getting younger. Or I'm getting older. So, but so he's excited. He stuck around this last pool. You know, I told him that we'll see when one came up. You know, and hopefully, you know, there'll be one come up that he could get. And so he's excited.
How long were you in the Marine Corps?
4 years.
Thank you for that.
Oh, no problem. Had a good time.
No further questions? We'll call for the vote.
Brown,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Bradshaw. Yes. Rushiers.
Yes.
Welcome aboard.
All right. Item C, discussion and possible action to accept a bid from Signal Communications in the amount of $34,852 for library meeting room audio-visual equipment to be paid from library capital outlay account 444455416. One other bid was received from Video Revolution in the amount of $34,993.27.
Motion.
I second.
I have a motion from Choya and a second from Brown. Carrie?
Hi.
Hi.
We've been planning this project since the beginning of the fiscal year, using the proposed purchasing manual that hasn't been approved yet, but we wrote the RFB, published it in the paper, did all the things, dotted all of our I's, crossed all of our T's, and this is what we've got. The main difference between the two bids, Signal Communications has covered our optional third display. The display is just a TV. It's not touchscreen, it's just a TV. We decided not to go with touchscreen, one, because it's less expensive, and two, it will stay in service longer than a touchscreen. The touchscreens will go out of date faster. And then, so Signal has 3 in their bid, Video Revolutions only has 2.
Any questions?
Very good job on getting the RF.
Thanks.
These-
It was a little bit stressful.
We knew that would be, if it's coming from you, we knew it'd be right.
Well, thank you.
Yes, and I will add that Carrie and Mike, both on their stuff that they've done, have been very cautious to try to follow the new manual the best they can. Lots of questions, lots of comments, so
Yes.
thank you for that attention to detail.
One question. Since she brought it up that that has not been approved yet, when is that new manual officially going to be in place?
I think we're just about done with it. I think we're ready to,
I think the manual's done. One of the hangups is we're recodifying everything.
Mhm.
So we haven't just updated that ordinance because we updated it at recodification. So when that happens officially. I think the policy's in place. You guys have already approved that, right?
right, but the actual manual is,
So the purchasing ordinance itself, we're just waiting for that recodification to update it all.
Okay, thank you.
right? No further, we'll call for the vote.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Bradshaw. Yes. Rushiers,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Thank you. Item D, discussion and possible action to accept a bid from Green Thumb Landscapes Lawn Care LLC for the mowing contract for mowing season April 1, 2025 through October 30th, 2025 in the amount of $11,550, as in the best interest of the city, to be paid from Recreation Center Grounds Keeping Account 848455047.
Motion.
I have a
Second.
motion from Choya and a second from Gantier.
Yes.
Discussion?
So I know that Green Thumb, and I believe that's, I just saw the hat, so I'm assuming that's who that's sitting back there in the corner. What is your warranty? Because I don't see what it says in the packet, so I just don't know what the warranty is. Okay.
I probably should include that, but there's a warranty declaration.
So it's a satisfaction guaranteed warranty,
Basically.
essentially.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, and the decision that I've come to on is pretty straightforward as well. I mean, they're proven commodity, did a great job last year. They are, when you break it down, they're $750 higher than the lowest, which is, $26.78 a week for the season, if you want to break it down that way. But they did a nice job, and we know what we're getting, and there's a lot to it, and, they pay attention to detail, they blow the grass away from the cars instead of in the windows, they're very conscientious that way, so, it's,
Well, I think we had one year that took out the sewer cleanouts as well, didn't they? Mowed over all those and
yeah, and
trash.
ran into a sign back there in the parking lot area and stuff, and so, and I did take the manual, and I think y'all had this, it's just, I went through the list, when in fact you decide to take a bid that's not the lowest, addressing the criteria, so I tried to do that with that document and with the purchasing manual in mind, so, I don't know if you have any questions about that.
Well, I'll make a comment. I know what we had a few years back was not necessarily a good thing for the city just because it's the lowest bidder. The quality of work on a location like that, that's kind of a centerpiece for the city in a sense. If they're gonna do a good job, it's worth it.
Mr. Attorney, is there any legal ramifications for not taking the bid? We all receive emails from somebody saying, you better look out.
Yeah, you don't have to take the lowest bid, you just take the best bid,
Okay.
taking everything into consideration.
Given that, anybody can sue anybody for anything, so if somebody feels like they've been wronged in that, they can, how would they go about demonstrating that they've been wronged in the bid process?
You asking me to tell someone how to sue?
No.
No, I'm just trying to,
That's the wrong question.
Yeah. I'm thinking out loud here with that, because I'm taking the information, I'm just trying to apply it to our case, but
I think what's key is that we followed process, we're
Yeah.
good. I don't think we have anything to worry about.
okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it right there.
That's
good.
Is Green Thumb the only vendor that showed up? They're the only one I see
Tonight,
that's
yeah,
here,
as
yeah.
far as I know.
That's part of this, so I appreciate you guys being here.
Yeah, they're engaged.
all right.
Thank you.
No further, we'll call for the vote.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Bradshaw. Yes. Rushiers,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Trammell.
Yes. Thank you. Item E, discussion and possible action to approve the Pryor Public Library to seek applications and fill 4 part-time library assistant positions. These positions work a maximum of 25 hours per week at the rate of $10.11 per hour.
Motion.
Motion from Choya, second from Bradshaw. Discussion? Terry?
Now, these 4 people you're gonna hire, if you was to take well, we were talking about this earlier, if you was to take the wages that these 4 people were gonna make at 25 hours a week versus a full-time employee, you're just talking about a few $1,000s more to pay 4 people to work than we would paying 1, correct?
Right, so, right, if we look back to fiscal year 22-23, we are down 5 part-time employees from that fiscal year and 1 full-time employee, so that's, if they work the maximum, 165 working hours, that we're down for the last couple fiscal years. So we're just asking for 100 working hours at part-time rate, which is 10.11, with the small benefits that we pay, which is FICA and another thing. The total for a part-time employee at the library for a year is $14,279.87. That's for the whole year.
That's at 25 hours?
Yes.
Okay.
And right now, of the 3 part-time employees that we only have 1 that works 25 hours a week. The other 2 work less than that. So there's no guarantee that they'll be able to work 25. We're gonna try real hard to make sure that they can work 25, but we'll just see how that goes. And then the full-time employee that we lost in the severance package, their entire package, which was salary, insurance, all the other benefits that they had, including, all the things. That entire salary was $55,548.43. So if we hire 4 part-time employees, we're only spending $1,571.05 more in a fiscal year than we would if we hired 1 full-time person.
That's what Lori was telling me.
Right, and we get 60 more work hours.
The only question I have is how's it come to number 4? I was curious about that.
Well, in this fiscal year's budget, we budgeted for 2 part-time. And then, if you'll remember, way back in September, when we were talking about the budget and talking about the severance packages, I said, if we lose a full-time employee, I'll need 3. At this point, with our workload and some other things that are happening within the department and some anticipated needs that our department might have staffing-wise, I think we're gonna need 4. And that is really the only way we're gonna ever get back to opening at 9 o'clock like we were, to get us back to what the hours were before this fiscal year. We might be able to do it with 3. We can for sure do it with 4. We cannot do it with 2.
Not to mention, you have summer coming up with all the summer kid programs.
And my very ambitious and very talented youth services librarian would like to do 50 programs every week, or 50 programs through the summer, for 8 weeks.
You scared me.
Well, I mean, thinking about 50 programs in 8 weeks is
That's a
scary to
lot.
me too. I've done a lot of programming in my time, and I'm exhausted just thinking about it. We are taking advantage of the Cherokee Nation's summer employees, but they only last 6 weeks, and they don't go through the same background checks and the same hiring process that our actual staff goes through, so they're limited on what they can do, sort of like with the Parks Department. They are wonderful and amazing, and we absolutely love that program. In fact, without that program, if we have funding, or if the food banks have funding for boxes for food for kids this summer, the only way we're going to be able to have enough staff to hand out the thousands of boxes we do every summer is if we have the Cherokee Nation help. So ultimately, we're busy, and we would like to be a whole library again, and this is the time to ask for that.
And it gives things for our kids to do during the summer.
Yes, sir. And adults.
And adults,
I will say this, I've had to use the library a few times because of my tragedy and having an internet and a place to do work, and it not opening as early as it used to isn't always fun. I can testify to that firsthand.
So the main question I have is obviously everything comes back down to the budget. We're heading in the right direction, as I mentioned before, but at the same time, like with these previous items that we just approved, there is a kind of a balancing out of what we're spending to what we're gaining. But in this case, I want to say yes, because I am all for libraries. I love libraries. My family uses the library, especially in the summers. But this is costing us rather than, you know, it's expenses that technically don't have to be taken up. And so I'm a little uncomfortable until I see that we are at least in the black. And I understand the library, you've done a great job with the library's budget, hands down. But again, it comes back to principle. We're not operating in the black. And just because something's budgeted doesn't mean that the money is always going to be there. Like, it can be budgeted all we want. But, I mean, little things add up. And so that's my discomfort with bringing on more employees. I mean, I'd love to have all these people be full-time employees and you be overstaffed, but we got money problems that I'm not sure if we can. I mean, it's little bits here and there. We hire someone on here, a few weeks later, somebody gets asked for here, or hey, let's get part-time over here, and we're not operating in the black right now. So that's my only concern.
Thank you.
At the same time, she is the only department that has to completely cut her hours, how the operation of her, where she's at because of that, and this would allow her to eventually, and I think from our conversation, it wouldn't even be an immediate getting back to normal. When do you expect you'd even be able to get back to normal hours?
Just the amount of time it takes to post the positions, interview for positions, find the people, and then train the people. We wouldn't be back to our normal hours until probably fall.
What's the estimated cost for through this year? Through the
Through this
summer.
year?
So I should say through the summer is what I should say, because I know that's when a lot of the activity comes in.
That is not math that I have prepared.
I did some math before we're coming in here today, and it's 10, 11 an hour is what's
Right.
posted. And there's 4 positions at 25 hours a week. Assuming they worked all of them, it's 100 hours a week at $10.11. That's $1,000 and $1,011 a week. Like simple math. And there, until the end of the fiscal year, there was 12 weeks, 13 weeks. It was right at $13,000, $14,000 in wages. There's also, obviously there's going to be FICA, there's going to be workers' comp, there's going to be some little things, but
That's minimum.
I
I
think
with part-time, it's like 3%.
right. I think we're going to be spending less than $15,000 if they worked every hour of those 25 hours a week, and I don't think that that's probably even truly plausible.
Well, and they certainly won't start tomorrow.
Correct.
So, and we can't
That would
even
be starting
hire
today.
them until the council approves the person that we're gonna hire. So this is just a, hey, can I go, can I hire people? And then you have approval again of who we hire once that.
I think in my mind, you're under budget on your wages currently. We're going to get into that for maybe $15,000 between now and the end of the fiscal year. It may make for a tough discussion come next budget year, depending on where things land, but I think you're also prepared for that,
Right.
if I'm
Well,
not mistaken.
I mean, even hiring these 4 part-time employees, we're under budget for what our current
Correct.
budget was budgeted. Because we budgeted for 2 part-time employees in addition to the 3 that we have, plus a full-time employee, and we're only spending $1,500 more per fiscal year with 4 part-time employees. So, I mean, we are saving.
Well, I agree, but at the same time, fortunately, the general fund is the general fund. You know, we have all these other departments that also have to, you might be saving here, but if another department goes way over, that just undid everything you saved.
Are you anticipating that other departments will have to borrow from library funds?
Well, you know what I mean. I'm not saying that, but what I'm just saying is, when you look at the entire general fund as a whole, if one department comes up under, but another department goes way over, again, the budget is just numbers that are punched in of what we expect. That's not necessarily gonna be it. It depends on what our revenues are. But, I mean, I agree that the cost in general, but I mean, 8-10 months ago, we were sitting here for 4 or 5 hours going tooth and nail on whether to spend $10 an hour for this or that over there. I just want to make sure that we're not getting ahead of ourselves in our mindset of, well, we're looking in the right direction, but now all of a sudden we're going to start, you know, all these little onesies and twosies here are going to just start sucking money. Would you be okay, just as a compromise, to go to 3?
I'm not, as a counselor, I'm not.
No,
I'm in full support of whatever she thinks she needs to run her department, and she has the money to do it. When we did sit here for 4 or 5 hours, we left those positions in the budget for her to be able to hire them. She, as a department head, said, I'm going to hold off until after the mid-year review and then come back. I personally think she's been very responsible with what she's done.
I think we call for the vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
yes.
Rushiers,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yep. Yes.
Gantier.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Item F, discussion and possible action to retire K-9 Kika to K-9 handler Phillips due to age.
Motion.
Motion from Bashir, second from Choya. Discussion?
I have one.
Yes.
So does this need to be treated like surplus property? And is that what we're doing tonight?
Yeah, I think retire is the same thing, just in a more polite.
Is there any kind of property exchange paperwork that needs to be completed between the city and Mr. Phillips?
I think the minute would probably be it. There's no title or anything for the dog, is there? Yeah, I think just our
I just an understanding that once it transfers property, it's not ours.
Or our responsibility to maintain.
Right.
Yeah.
Is the dog in
I'm sure he understands that.
fairly good health?
We've had a,
For
That's
work,
HIPAA,
I
you
think
can't-
for working and living are probably two different.
yes. So if you go back to some of the invoices from the vet, there's been substantial visits over the last year.
What is the effective date of this? Upon passing?
On passing.
Yeah, I'd say that one.
Is he willing to do that?
To take it off?
Uh-huh.
Yes, I know.
Okay, I was just wondering, I mean, if he's got a lot of vet bills coming up or something like that.
That's up to him.
Yeah, I would just want to make sure that he's good with that.
So Chase, my clarification question is, do we need something in writing from Mr. Phillips that he is accepting this animal and that he is absolving us of any future liability or care for its medical care?
I think it's a good idea to get something in writing, but I don't think you have to do that tonight. I think you can approve this.
Has he officially requested this?
No.
We don't want it. I don't mean to be rude, but we don't,
K-9 is.
if he
only
doesn't
got
want
to
it,
handle
we don't want the dog. The city wouldn't want the dog. We wouldn't, right? I mean, you're gonna have to find somewhere to house it and everything. I mean,
Have you
The dog-
asked
the
him or
dog
talked to him
probably has
about it? Does he know this is happening tonight? But
There's been no communication.
no feedback. That's strange.
Okay. Call for the vote.
Well, hold on a minute. Do we need to have something in writing?
I think you need to get something in writing from him accepting it. I think you can vote this. If he doesn't accept it, then
And bring it back.
bring it back.
is that something that you could,
I can.
Tim, can we put the vote amended to where pending his acceptance, it'd go through and it'd be done?
I think he needs to accept, I don't think we can just force a dog on him if he doesn't want it. So, yeah, I think we need something in writing from him saying, yeah, I do.
I think,
Yeah, because this motion is to give it to him, and he has not even part of the conversation on it, so that needs to be addressed, I think.
So he's the handler of the dog, and he has been
Right.
since we've had the dog. So there's been some discussion in executive session that I can't discuss out here as for some other things going on. But due to age and medical condition is the reason we're retiring the dog. And the discussion was had to retire the dog to him because he's been the handler, it's the right thing to do. So if it's approved tonight, and say for some reason he says, I don't want the dog, then we'll cross that bridge. So I don't foresee him doing that, but if he does, we'll address it.
Okay.
So the effective date is tonight, then effective tonight, this
Yeah,
date,
we've established that that's tonight, but we've also called for the vote. So
we're not going to pay for any more food, medical care, or anything for it after tonight. See, that needs to be clarified.
You're surplusing the dog. It's at the time you vote.
Ready? Lamar,
Well, I'm gonna say no because we don't have it infirmed that we're not taking care of it after tonight.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Rushiers,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Item 6, City Attorney's Report. Possible executive session regarding collective bargaining agreement between the City of Pryor Creek and the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge 116, 25 OS 307B2.
So moved.
I got a motion from Gantier and a second from Brashears. Call for the vote.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Rushiers,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
We shall return. All right.
We're on.
So did I.
All right, item B, consider resuming regular session.
So moved.
Yours.
Second.
Hang on. I know y'all are tired. Let me read the whole thing. No action taken during executive session.
So moved again.
Motion from Gantier. Second from the Shears. Call for the vote.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Rushiers,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Possible action based on executive session regarding the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Pryor Creek and the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 116, 25 OS 307B2.
Motion, no action.
Motion for no action from Gantier, second from Shropshire. Call for the vote.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
excuse me, Rushiers,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Committee reports, budget and personnel,
8.
ordinance and insurance,
29.
street and maintenance.
22nd.
No unforeseeable business. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion from Bashir and a second from Gantier. Call for the vote.
All right, Brown,
Yes.
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith, Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Rushiers.
Yes.
Okay, we will call to order the Pryor Public Works Authority. Approve the minutes of the March 18th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Gantier and a second from Bashir. Call for the vote. When you're ready.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Rushiers.
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Approve claims for purchase orders for the Pryor Public Works Authority through April 1st, 2025.
Motion.
Second.
Motion from Bashir, second from Gantier. When you're ready, call for the vote.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Rushiers.
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
With no unforeseen, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
A motion from Bashir and a second from Gantier.
You can stay here if you want.
You ready?
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Rushiers.
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Adjourn.